Ooh, I also cast Find Familiar last night.
Appearing in front of you in a small circle of silvery elven runes on the ground, it manifests first as you think it's smoke, and then you see clearly from out to be anything, it is instead very cool water vapor. It's water vapor, and it gets more and more intense, kind of spreading across the floor, but also pluming up in a little, and then you hear, and you see this frog is, I want to say, as close to spherical as a frog can get. It is a perfectly round frog. It is it is, you've made something that is so classic that it's like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. It is so archetypically a frog that it fills you with that feeling of like familiarity that you get from like, oh wow, like a Coca-Cola bottle with like the glass. It's like the perfect thing. It's like the perfect, it's like, oh wow, the perfect brand recognition of what a frog is supposed to be. Just sitting there, it's got like the cream green underbelly with the like brilliant lime green upper part and then the dark green freckles. Its eyes are so like sort of large, and the pupils are large with a lot of like light spots on them, so it looks like a sort of chibi little plush frog thing. You see, it miraculously has a collar with a little name tag on it. The name tag you see is blank at the moment, and you can feel one last piece of the spell waiting for you to name the frog. The collar around something that is almost the shape of a perfect spheroid, just with like big legs and little forelegs. It means that the collar is almost around the widest part of the frog. But it is there, and this little frog looks up at you.
I will name you Bogariel Frogariel, or Boggy the Froggy for short. And I like to pull out of my jacket of useful things some kind of like frog bag.
A frog bag?
You reach into the jacket, you pull out a frog bag, which you see is basically it's like a transparent cloth, if that makes sense, almost like a sort of textured plastic wrap of some kind. You see that it's got two sort of segments. There's like a water portion that has some like waterlogged like small sticks and twigs in it, and then an upper dry portion that kind of has some like loose leaves and like a little packet of food in it. And there's like a little froggy door for it to like crawl into the water part and up into the other part. Your frog, I would say, is in its round state about big enough for you to hold in like your two hands.
Great.
So the bag is a little bit larger. The bag's like a backpack-sized bag.
Okay.
But you see that Boggy jumps up and goes, big old like throat extends.
Oh no, it's too much. I'm gonna cry. He's too cute. I'm too comforted by my emotional comfort animal. I feel so supported right now.
Incredible. You have your emotional support frog. You do immediately feel better. Give me an insight check if you would be so kind.
11.
Cool. I'm going to say that the DC here is 10 just because you're getting insight into yourself.
Oh, okay.
Boggy feels so good. And as you're holding Boggy, you see that your shoulders relax and your jaw untightens. And you come into, as Jawbone is often talked with you about, he's like, whenever you're feeling in your, he's like, whenever, you know, you Jawbone a million times has been like, whenever you feel trapped in your mind, the way to get out is through your body. Relax your shoulders, breathe, try to relax your jaw. And you realize that your stuff had like tightened up, and that dream had messed you up a little bit. And I think there's maybe a realization or a piece of information that comes to you, which is that a nightmare king is something that is rough to think about in terms of your anxiety. And I think maybe as soon as Boggy relaxes you, it makes you recognize how unrelaxed you were a moment ago. But that realization is just a very minor, it just occurs to you mentally in that moment. And there's that thought of like, what awaits for you in the forest of the Nightmare King?
Great, I take my meds every morning.
Your little alarm goes off on your crystal, and you take your meds. And you have and Boggy is there with you as well. You see that as Boggy jumps, again, Boggy is not a real frog. Boggy is a magic frog. So when he jumps,
He's so real. How dare you? Magic is real, and so is my frog.
he is. Let me rephrase. He is not a natural frog from the world of nature. He is instead a magical mist frog. And you see that when he does a very long jump, he does about midway through transform into mist, and then kind of reconstitute where he jumps to. So he
That's cool as hell.
so he jumps, lands on your shoulder where he croaks very peaceably. Boggy chills you right the hell out because Boggy appears to have one mood that you can see, which is happy to be here, gang.
Great.
He just looks around kind of excitedly, taking in new information, and doesn't seem to not just be very excited to be here and part of whatever's going on. You walk downstairs.
Everybody shut up. I need to do my homework.
Adine eventually finishes her homework. You guys have sort of eaten. You know, Fabian is very sick in the back of the van. Rog is back there having a hard time as well. Cathilda is just tending to the both of them. Sandra Lynn is kind of guarding over Adine while she studies. Galir is also playing it safe in the van at the moment. You see eventually Ida comes back over to you as you are almost finished. You see she looks at you and says, I take it you were almost done with the spell?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Very good. All right. If you see my father, tell him whatever you want. No concern of mine.
Oh, we can hang out if you like.
What?
I don't have any wizard friends.
Why?
I'm a wizard.
I don't have any wizard friends.
Are you hard to be around?
No. No? Are you hard to be around?
Yes.
Oh, do you want a friend?
Desperately.
I'll be your friend. Would you like to hold my frog? It's not a gift.
She takes Boggy. Utterly fantastic.
Isn't he good?
What level spell is this?
It's just fine familiar. It's
How?
I can teach you it. It'll cost you 50 gold per level.
Very good. This is a first level spell. Your spellcraft would make it seem much higher than that.
Thank you.
She hands Boggy back to you. A truly fantastic frog. I've misjudged you.
He has a backpack.
You see, says, her eyes go wide. You haven't seen her display much emotion, but she says, he has a tiny little backpack that he wears?
No, that I wear that he lives in.
Oh, that's also
you know what?
good.
He should. Hang on. I pull out a
You
tiny
see, she
little
goes,
backpack.
no, it's too cute. Boggy happily puts on a tiny little backpack that he now wears.
He wears a backpack in a backpack.
In the backpack, she says, there's a frog in that backpack wearing a tiny little backpack.
What's in his backpack?
Oh, maybe a smaller frog. You see, Ida looks at you and says, I cannot believe that I've met the two greatest wizards of this age on the same day. You and your friend Gorgog will surely either kill each other or save this world. And she begins to stride out of the room.